40 for Raidable Crest Titans.
High drama last time out in the British Rally Championship. Matt Edwards taking victory on his home stages. Punctures, though, would be the talk of the rally. Tom Cave dramatically missing out on a finish when he picked up 2 punctures with just 1 spare carried in the car. David Bogie and Marty McCormack clinched the remaining steps on the podium then behind Edwards to get their championship campaigns off to a flying start. Round 2 of the championship heads across the water from Wales to the Clonakilty Park Hotel West Cork Rally. Josh Moffat leads the cruiserway in the Irish lanes, certainly no stranger to these stages. Round 1 winner and reigning champion Matt Edwards follows Moffat into the stage with Desi Henry, David Bogie and Marty McCormack in a brace of Skodas right behind. 15 grueling and very specialist stages lie in wait for the crews in total, and it all starts with the infamous ring stage. On to the morning stages then, and as expected, there would be an Irishman at the top of our leaderboard. Josh Moffat and Keith Moriarty leading the way with a small but welcomed 13.9 second advantage. Keen to put the disappointment of the first round behind them and still as bullish as ever, Tom Cave and James Morgan will be quick out of the blocks, putting in some good times. They do catch Marty McCormack in the opening stage, which held them back a little, but they still recorded a second fastest time.
Drive. 60 up the middle. Left on crest okay into late 6 right minus nips.
A clean and tidy approach would see round 1 winners Matt Edwards and Patrick Walsh make a good start to the rally. 3rd place for now, just 3.5 seconds back from Cave. It was a long event this weekend, so a start like this would look like a sensible approach. There were problems though from the start for David Bogie and John Rowan. A soft brake pedal in the opening stage would see them having to brake early to make sure that they were going to stop for the corners, and you certainly need to do that over here. They lose around 30 seconds in the process, settling into 4th place. And things were not exactly going that smoothly for Marty McCormack and Barney Mitchell either. They stopped for another competitor in the opening stage. That was the reason for them being in front of Tom Cave a little earlier. Unfortunately, once going again, they would spin the Skoda, seen here from on board with Cave. 5th place would be theirs at this stage in the rally. A lot to do, but a good place to be fighting from. Like many others on our leaderboard were, Johnny Greer and Kirsty Riddick would be struggling with the conditions. They were taking things cautiously, not wanting to put the car off in the early stages of the rally. Very sensible as well. 6th place on the leaderboard as a result. A solid approach. Whereas round 1 had been full of mechanical gremlins for Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams. Here at the 2nd round of the championship, they would be seated a little way back, but those gremlins didn't seem to be surfacing. Catching some of the non-championship crews in the stage was holding progress back a little, the pair lying in 7th place for now. And it would be a spin in the first stage of the day, holding Brendan Comiskey and Ronan O'Kane back a little on our leaderboard. Thankfully, though, with no damage to the car, just to their times and possibly to the confidence. You never know. They'd need to tidy things up over the afternoon stages, that was for sure. It would be a similar story too for Enda McCormack and Colin Fitzgerald. They just felt that they couldn't get into the swing of things, needed to pick up the pace in the next loop of stages. And rounding out our top 10 now were Welshman Marion Evans and Jonathan Jackson. Problems in the 4th stage of the morning would see them lose a big chunk of time, off the pace of the other competitors for now, but still at least in that hunt. Some notable attrition though would see us lose Desi Henry and Liam Moynihan. They crash out on the 3rd stage of the rally, calling it a day. And we'd also lose Alex Laffey and Stuart Loudon. They get caught out in the most innocent looking of locations. It turned out to be pretty dramatic though, spinning into the bank when they tried to get the power down after this chicane. They do continue in the rally, but would retire soon afterwards to save any further damage to the car. So we are 4 stages down here in West Cork, and it's Moffat in the lead. Cave and Edwards reigniting that battle once again that we've all been looking forward to see. Advantage Cave though at this point in the rally. On we go to the afternoon stages then, and another pair of stages each run twice, this time with a short spectator stage in Clonakilty to finish the day. And as well as a change around in stages, we'd also see some change at the top of our leaderboard. Matt Edwards and Patrick Walsh would have a good afternoon, pushing hard to take the lead of the rally and keep hold of it until the end of the day. A strong position to be fighting from going into day 2 then.
Max in of the crest 100. Keep left Max into slow 5 right. For left times 3 long.
For Tom Cave and James Morgan still on the pace, it would still be second place. The movement around them meant that they kept hold of that position. They do have a bit of a moment in stage 6, trying so hard. Luckily, they get away with just a bit of foliage in the front of the Hyundai, but that would certainly give them something to think about overnight. So what of our early rally leaders then, Josh Muffett and Keith Moriarty? Well, it will be third place for now. They break something on the car in stage 6, resulting in the Fiesta running in 2-wheel drive. Those 3, though, wouldn't be the only changes in our results at this stage. Marty McCormack and Barney Mitchell stepping up to take 4th place now. The stages were giving the pair plenty of scares, but they reached the end of the day without any damage to the car and still in the fight. Tyres still the order of the day, and a wrong choice for Johnny Greer and Kirsty Riddick wouldn't pay off. They go out on wets, hoping for more rain. Sadly though, the stages were drying. It may not have been the fastest choice, but it was at least safe. The pair reaching the end of day 1 in 5th place. Meanwhile, overshoots were the theme of the afternoon for Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams, perhaps trying a little too hard to make up for that disappointing round 1. It wasn't helping their times, obviously, but thankfully they were getting away without any damage. 8th place to end the day for the Hyundai pair. And Brendan Comiskey and Ronan O'Kane will be another crew making wrong tyre choices through these stages. Out on wets and not expecting the stages to be as dry as they were. The eagle-eyed among you may have noticed a notable crew missing from the top of our leaderboard. That would be this pair, David Bogey and John Rowan. They go off the road in stage 5, getting stuck in a ditch and unable to get out. They would get going again, but after significant time loss, now lying in 8th place.
We try and go down and turn at that corner. We're a big pitch now.
Things were getting a bit better now though for Enda McCormack and Colin Fitzgerald. They were happier with the pace and things were going well to end the day with 9th. After their earlier problems, it would just be a no-pressure drive for this pair, Marion Evans and Jonathan Jackson. They were out of the battle for any positions up ahead now, so they could just have some fun, get some important seat timing, and see how those stage times compared. So with 1 day complete, and we told you it would be grueling, it is all change at the top. Would the results though stay that way on the 2nd day of competition? Time to find out. On to the 2nd day of competition then here in West Cork. 3 stages in the loop, each run twice. And we can take a look at how this final day of the event panned out. Believe us, it was dramatic. Unfortunately for Marion Evans and Jonathan Jackson, the weekend just hadn't gone to plan from the start. They were super rallying today, but they were happy with the times that they'd been putting in. A bit of confidence perhaps for next time out. A frustrating spin on the opening stage of the day would lose Enda McCormack and Colin Fitzgerald around a minute. They end the rally with 9th place overall. Brendan Comiskey and Ronan O'Kane get to the end of the rally a little closer to that fight at the top. A good advantage over McCormack at the end of the event as well, in 8th. And Alan Carmichael and Claire Williams have a much better second day, avoiding the overshoots of the first day of competition and keeping things going the way that they should, happy with their pace and happy to get to the finish after a trouble-filled round 1.
40, 1 left, 150, 1 left plus again, 130.
And after all of that time lost on day 1 with the drama, it would all be about getting to the finish and getting some points on the board to match that round 1 success for David Bogey and John Rowan. And they do just that, taking 6th place at the end of the rally. They do still have a few moments along the way, trying a bit too hard to move up that leaderboard perhaps, but they end the day without any more drama. And today would end up being all about a finish as well for Johnny Greer and Kirsty Riddick. They wouldn't be pushing any more than they had to. They end the rally with a welcomed 5th place on the leaderboard. A hard-charging Marty McCormack and Barney Mitchell, meanwhile, make a good start to the day, looking to chase down those podium positions. Frustratingly, a spin in stage 13 would drop them back from that fight a little. They may not have been able to catch 3rd place, but this certainly wouldn't have helped.
Get it in the stage, don't be a
What a
Oh, you were going well to that point, but George, flat 2 right now, but listen, don't be letting yourself down, 140. This is slippy down here.
So the fight to be 2019 British Rally Champion continues on to those podium places. It would be the final step for Josh Moffat and Keith Moriarty. After their day 1 problems, it would be a welcomed finish, even if they'd led the rally so convincingly early on. It could have been a lot worse as well. They take some good points away from this round, even if it wasn't the victory that they came here looking for on the Irish lanes. But how about that battle for victory then? Well, our leaders at the end of the opening day, Matt Edwards and Patrick Walsh, would lose their lead at the start of day 2. The times were still close, just a handful of seconds in it. Matt clearly pushing right through to the final corners here in a bid to take victory. But for this weekend, he would have to settle for 2nd place. So that, of course, means that it's victory for Tom Cave and James Morgan, making up for that disappointing non-finish at the opening round, and of course, putting their first win in the championship in 4-wheel drive on the board for Tom. They were pushing hard to keep Edwards at bay, as you might when you have the reigning champ hunting you down, taking victory by the end of the day by just 4.8 seconds after 2 grueling days of rallying.
Well done, boy.
So here it is then, confirmation of the results at the end of a very close fight at the 2nd round of the British Rally Championship. Cave taking victory by less than 5 seconds at the end of the day. But looking at the points after 2 rounds, it's Edwards with a clear advantage at the top. Last time out in the British Rally Championship, we had some close competition on the Irish lanes of West Cork. Round 1 winner Matt Edwards on the pace once again, but it would eventually be victory for Tom Cave after the pair were swapping seconds throughout the rally. Problems for Josh Moffat saw him unable to take victory and having to settle for 3rd place on what could have been his strongest round yet. Championship leader Matt Edwards then leads the Cruiserweight this weekend with Tom Cave just behind on the road. Current WRC2 contender Rhys Yates returns to the UK series this weekend. 6 stages lie in wait for the crews in the infamous Kielder Forest. A mix of fast and technical, but all with one thing in common: ditches. What a fight we had in store today. Let's head on to those opening stages of the day then, and it would be an early lead for Tom Cave and Dale Bowen. They have a good run through the fast stages to open up a 15-second margin. They were suffering a little bit with the windscreen steaming up, but thankfully it wasn't affecting progress.
100. Tab, 6 left minus, sharp, don't.
left in.
Winners at round one, and of course, reigning champion Matt Edwards with Patrick Walsh alongside was not happy with the setup on this morning's stages. A little more rain than they'd expected, and the car a little too stiff for them to feel 100% confident. And you need that 100% on these stages. Second place then for now, and they had some work to do in the next loop of stages. Rhys Yates joins the championship once again, and with round two winning co-driver James Morgan alongside, out for a bit of testing ahead of the next round of the WRC2 season, but as always, competitive, just 2.6 seconds back from Edwards after two stages. There would be problems for David Bogie and John Rowan though through the early stages of the rally. They take a particularly deep cut, knocking the back end of the car out of alignment, resulting in a very lively rear end on the Skoda for the rest of the stage. Just keeping it out of those ditches, they end the morning with fourth place.
Tight 6, definitely don't cut. 60 up the hill. Flat 3 left over flat crest. 60 through a dip. 1 left.
This weekend, meanwhile, would be the first visit to these stages for Enda McCormack and Colin Fitzgerald. And it would be eye-opening, as you might expect. They felt like they were spending almost as much time off the stage as they were on it. But thankfully, they get through without incident to lie in fifth. There would, though, be bad luck in store for Alex Laffey and Stuart Loudon early into the rally. They pick up a puncture in the opening stage of the day, choosing to pull over to avoid any further damage. Frustratingly, the pair drop to the bottom of our leaderboard, and the rest of the day would just be about seat time and perhaps, if they could manage it, a bit of damage limitation. So we are 2 stages down, already plenty of drama, 4 to go, and the lead out front was a good one, but as we know, Kielder can and has claimed the very best. Let's join the action now on the next pair of stages, and it would still be Tom Cave and Dale Bowen leading the way. 20 seconds the advantage now, everything going well, nothing untoward to report. But stage 3 would provide the pair with a bit of a surprise as they start to catch second place Matt Edwards on the road, who was of course running ahead of them. The Fiesta shedding bits of bodywork and tyres, limping through the stage. 2 punctures by the end of the stage, putting them down in 4th position and heading back to service with a very second-hand looking car.
50.
This drama and toil would of course mean change in other positions on the leaderboard as well. Rhys Yates and James Morgan continuing their trouble-free run and moving up to 2nd place. The pace was good and they gained themselves a nice 27-second buffer in that position as well, with just 2 stages of the rally to go. With the car now fixed in service and back to handling how it should, there would be some good times being set on that leaderboard by David Bogie and John Rowan. They end this loop as a result with 3rd, pushing hard to make sure they salvaged as many points as possible from this round of the championship. They do get held up a little towards the end of the 3rd stage though, as they also catch Edwards. The nature of the roads here in Kielder not allowing much opportunity to pull over and move out of the way despite those problems on the Fiesta. So with Edwards losing over 2 minutes now and moving down to 4th, it would be business as usual in the remaining positions. Enda McCormack and Colin Fitzgerald happy to still be going at this stage in the event. Dramatic stages these, especially if you're seeing them from behind the windscreen for the first time. They were in 5th. No change either for Alex Laffey and Stuart Loudon, although they were now putting in some good times after that earlier puncture, trying to salvage something from that early misfortune. 4 stages down then here at the Pirelli, 2 to go. That leaderboard taking a bit of a shake-up, but still looking good for rally leader Cave. On we go then to take a look at the final stages and a look at those final results. And for Enda McCormack and Colin Fitzgerald, they will be 5th place this weekend. Some good points though, and the pair managing to keep things out of the ditches to get to the finish, which is always important. Not the best of days, or at least not the best of starts for Alex Laffey and Stuart Loudon, as you saw. It would be fourth by the finish, though. This was better than they could have hoped for when they pulled over to change that tyre this morning. And after their non-finish at the previous round in Ireland, it was some valuable points towards that championship campaign. Don't forget last year's runners-up. Despite a heroic effort to get that car back to service, we would unfortunately lose Matt Edwards and Patrick Walsh from the leaderboard. Their earlier double puncture and only one spare carried in the car mean that they have to travel to service on an open rim. A contravention of the rules, meaning that the pair would be excluded from the results. An unfortunate way to end the rally, but they'd be back to fighting again at the next round. The problems, though, hadn't stopped for David Bogie and John Rowan. A puncture in the penultimate stage of the day would cause them even more time lost, as well as this moment at a chicane near to the end of the stage, just struggling to get the car stopped and turned in on time. Caught from the outside, too, by a spectator at the junction. Thankfully, they do manage to keep themselves in that final podium position, getting some good points on the board to keep them in the championship fight going into the next round.
Over a flat crest, don't cut, and it tightens to long 6 right, then don't cut. Into tight 6 left.
That popular return to the championship had gone well for Rhys Yates and James Morgan. Their first time back on the gravel this season after their WRC2 campaign, showing that their pace was good here in the British Rally Championship. They still had what it took to fight at the very sharp end. And of course, repeating the second place that they'd taken on this event in last year's series. But for this weekend, it would be smiles all round in the Hyundai for Tom Cave and Dale Bowen. Victory number 2 for Cave in 2019, Dale's first overall win. The drive this weekend couldn't be described as easy by any stretch of the imagination, but the 17-second advantage at the end of the rally must have felt like a bit of a comfortable margin after the close battles on the opening 2 rounds of the series.
Yeah! Get in there! Well done. Well done, mate.
Confirmation then after a tough day on the stages here in Kielder at the final results here on the Pirelli Rally. That victory for Cave puts him in the driving seat of the championship going into the next round over the water in Belgium.
Tom, many congratulations. You've done a BRC double. Now you're making a very good habit out of this. How was your day in the Hyundai?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling to get 2 on the bounce, isn't it? And you know, we had a good morning stages, and I think for me that kind of set the tone for the day, and I kind of managed the gap this afternoon, and yeah, it's great. Thanks to everybody. The car's been fantastic. Tyres have worked well. Dale's first rally win overall, so I'm really thrilled for him as well. So yeah, heading into Ypres now, it's going to be the championship fight, certainly getting really good momentum, which I'm thrilled about. So thank you to everyone for their support, my sponsors, and everybody back home watching. So thank you.
Here, 40 for Rateable Crest Titans.